Timothy Kurek is a straight Christian man. However, after one of his friends came out as a lesbian, he decided that he would come out as gay, even though he's straight, just to experience what it's like to be a gay individual. Now, in the next video, he talks about his interaction with his female friend who came out and some of the torture she suffered from her own family. Let's take a look.
And then I met a girl. She was a friend that I had no clue was in the closet until she broke down one night outside of karaoke and told me in tears that she had just come out to her family and had been brutally disowned. She had been excommunicated from her entire life, and 2 words had changed it all. 2 simple words: I'm gay. She confided in me, but my reaction wasn't any more loving than her parents. And after we parted ways, a funny thing happened. For the first time in my life, I was moved enough to question that little voice inside my head that told me that this precious girl crying on my shoulder wasn't abominable, or scary, or bad. Call it the Holy Spirit, call it a grand epiphany, but somehow in that moment, I knew that my life and my faith had wandered drastically off course.
Okay, so as we're watching that video, I have to throw John under a bus, because as soon as he started talking about the Holy Spirit, John's like,
no, call it natural human empathy and warmth, maybe?
I hear you, I hear
you. A natural inclination to feel bad for people who are suffering.
Right.
But he seems like a nice guy, so.
He does seem like a nice guy,
I got that
and
out of my system.
He actually decided to come out as gay, even though he's straight, because he wanted to experience what it's like to be a gay person.
Yeah.
And he said that 95% of his friends and family didn't want anything to do with him as a result. His mom said the following: "I'd rather have found out from a doctor that I had terminal cancer than have a gay son." Now,
that's hard. That's harsh.
Extremely harsh. Now, she came to terms with it later and then became an advocate for the gay community, which I always find fascinating, right? If it's not a member of your own family, then it's okay to hate on the gay community.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden you have a gay son and you're like, okay, I guess I gotta be more accepting, which is fine. I would much rather have her become more accepting than to remain a hateful individual.
Yeah.
Now, let's watch the next video where he talks about his experience.
We live in a society and a country that claims to be civilized and modern and enlightened, but what I found was anything but. This book is about the story of my year. It's a story about loss, but also about profound gain. It's a story about a guy that thought he had his life and faith all figured out until something drastic happened that threw everything into question. It's a story about people, the people who saved my faith, but more importantly, the people that saved my life. It's about the moment that changed it all, the moment where the tables were turned and everywhere I went, I met Jesus in drag.
So he went through this experience, and in the beginning, he was basically a homophobe. He felt that being gay was an abomination. He believed that, you were going to go to hell, you were going to suffer eternal torture if you were gay and you didn't become straight. He would go around trying to, convince... Cure people, exactly. Yeah. So if you have a religion that teaches you these things, and then you realize what the reality is, how do you maintain that faith, right? Because I understand, I grew up Christian, so I fortunately was not exposed to fundamentalist Christianity. When I was in church, I learned about helping the poor. I learned about being a good member of society. I learned about morality, but not stupid morality, as in like you should hate everyone who isn't Christian and who doesn't believe in what you believe. Yeah. Just being a good person, helping those in need. That was kind of drilled into my head growing up as a Christian. But I understand that there are churches out there that emphasize the hate, and that sounds like the kind of church he went to. So how do you maintain your religion and your belief when you've been brainwashed by this BS your entire life?
Well, I mean, I think at the end you probably go to a different church. Like, he swayed his mom to reconsider, but I doubt 95% of his friends a year later are now suddenly in favor of homosexuality. Now, when we talk about Christianity in America, and I think that most people outside of America think of Christian conservatives, basically, but there are huge liberal churches. Not in some parts of the country, but I'm from the East Coast, and it's more common there. Like, I grew up sometimes going to a Roman Catholic church, sometimes going to a Lutheran church, because I was raised Christian, and it was much more liberal. They never talked about homosexuality.
Right.
I didn't really pay attention that much anyway, but I don't remember hearing anything about homosexuality. So he could end up going to a liberal church. Now, when I first saw the headline that he comes out, I thought this was going to be like, I pretended to be gay, and it's a den of sin and stuff like that. But I was very glad to see that it's very interesting. I think that people should read his book. I would like to. I probably in the end won't, because I always say that I'm going to read a book and then I don't. But it seems interesting.
Unless it's Harry Potter. Go ahead.
I've already read those, though. No, I'm mostly watching TV. But I do think it is very interesting. But the thing that I leave this, like, I have a lot of sympathy for what he went through, and I love that he did this. But in the end, like, he put all this work into probably becoming more of what we'd consider a liberal Christian. You don't need it, man. You can be empathic and care for these people and not try over a year to get it to work with your faith. Just get rid of the faith, and you have no reason to hate the people in the first place.
I don't have a problem with his faith.
I'm not saying I do, but I'm saying that he could do what he did and just do it from a secular point of view. And it wouldn't be such a journey. It wouldn't be so difficult.
Okay, I hear what you're saying, but at the same time, I believe... Look, Jake doesn't agree with you, okay?
I think he would agree with me in this case, actually.
No, look, I believe that everyone should have whatever faith they believe in, right? If you want to be a Christian, that's totally fine. My problem with religion is when people try to have their religion dictate the lives of others. And in this case, he went through this social experiment for himself, for his own enlightenment, and he took away what he needed to take away from it. And I'm in favor of it. If he wants to remain a Christian, that's fine. And if you want to be the type of Christian that, or if you want to go to the type of Christian church that I went to when I was growing up, where they emphasize the good elements of religion, I'm totally fine with that. As long as you're not harming others while believing what you believe, then that's totally fine.